Canning looks for Trainer. Ball eventually does go out of play, and the throw-in has been awarded to Linfield. Trainer eager to take it quickly. Jarvis comes short. Back to Trainer, lifted in towards the back post. Carson was trying to get there. Lyndon Kane following up, flick forward by Curtis Allen, and then it was James McLaughlin coming on to it.
Well played by Lyndon Kane. He was up on attack to support the forwards, and he drilled a very tidy right-footed low shot there, and it was blocked. Very fortunately for La Fiorita that it was one of their players who finally got the loose ball and cleared it. But I think Coleraine they're just starting to turn the screw, and they're starting to ask a few questions, and they don't look all that comfortable at times defensively now, particularly when the ball's low down and there's numbers in the box. They just seem to be very keen to get it out of there. And who knows, Thomas, if Coleraine could score one, you wouldn't know how many they could score. The first goal is always extremely important.
Coleraine starting to click midway through this first half. Trainer finds Allen, goes down, wins a free kick, uses all his experience. Curtis Allen,
yeah,
a little bit impatient though from the defender.
Now this is when you need Ben Doherty or somebody who's a very good deliverer of a ball at set pieces. This one, obviously there'll be one here now coming from probably the training pitch. There'll be a move to be worked here. They've got big Stevie O'Donnell and these people up, and you've got to make sure that the delivery's good. Give them a chance.
Coleraine starting to get a little bit of reward down the wings. Again, the expected targets, Canning and O'Donnell. Up from the back it is Canning. It's headed goalwards away by Damiano, and clearances completed by Peluso.
I think you could see there, Thomas, that the idea was to knock the ball deep to Canning at the far corner, and he would head it back across the face of goal, and then somebody had to be brave enough to attack it, but that wasn't. Canning did his piece, but there was nobody then brave enough to attack it, and it was a La Fiorita player that cleared it. But again, the vast majority of this game is being played in the opposition half. It's just a matter of now being patient, as we said early on, being patient, and hopefully the goal will come.
Vivan away by Canning. Noidis. Brehe has looked comfortable at the back as it's flicked into the path of Damiano. Doesn't have too many options in the middle. It's a looping cross. The volley coming from Arico, but there was an infringement in there just before. It's been a niggly kind of game so far, hasn't it?
Has been niggly, yeah. But Damiano, great run and cross there. Really, the ball was almost over the byline, and he get great purchase on it to deliver it right to the back post. Just crying out for somebody to come and attack. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that it's been niggly. And Coleraine on a few occasions have let it get to them, whereas I think I know it's easy said when you're standing up here, but you never know what's going on out there. There's a few tactics goes on in European football that doesn't go on in the Irish League, let me say. And it's very easy to react if you're that way inclined.
Josh Carson decides to leave the throw in for Lyndon Kane. Lowry flicks it forward, but it's difficult for Curtis Allen to do anything with that type of ball.
Yeah, they've dealt with the threat of Curtis and James McLaughlin. They've dealt with them very well.
A little bit surprised when Bradley didn't start?
Not really, because I think that Owens has started a team that he thinks might be capable of doing the job. But he has Bradley on the bench. He'll know that he's a different kettle of fish if they bring him on. It's a tough call because
two front men link up.
Yeah.
Carson fired at goalwards, and Ben Doherty just about, managed to keep it in, and then after all that hard work, the fullback Gasparoni lashed it against Doherty, and it's resulted in a Lafiori to throw it.
No, Coleraine have been very dependent on Owen Bradley, who's had a fabulous season, and we all know what he's good at and what he can do, and top player up front for me, I think, for holding the ball up, waiting for support and using his upper body strength and all of that. But tonight's a good opportunity for Owen. James McLaughlin, top player, technically very gifted, scores wonderful goals. Curtis Allen, tried and tested, been there, done that. So it's a great opportunity to play those two together. They will have done that in a couple of pre-season friendlies, and they'll have dovetailed okay. So
as far as I know, they actually started against Glentoran.
Yes.
The two sides played a warm-up game for this encounter.
Well, absolutely, and it's a good opportunity. But if it's not going to work, don't be surprised if you see Owen Bradley being introduced.
He's for a foul against Lowry. Final touch was off trainer.
But the San Marino
and
team
supposedly in that game, sorry to interrupt, supposedly in that game, whilst the two started and linked up very well, it was Owen Bradley who scored 2 goals. So
he's
maybe,
been a class
maybe Oren
act.
Kearney's found something there.
It's been a class act, and he'll be a hard act to replace when he calls it a day. But we all know what he can do, we all know what he's good at, and if there's a wee physical presence needed in the second half, don't be surprised if you see Owen Bradley being introduced. But again, the service hasn't been great either to the front men tonight. It's hard to judge like a James McLaughlin and Curtis Allen when they're having to forage for service and they're having to scrap.
Here is the
there's no slick passing as such.
Really good play by Doherty. Appeals for the flag to be raised from the San Marino defenders. Referee had a little glance across, and the assistant on the far side hadn't signalled offside, so the attack continued. It's Coleraine over throw-in. Now they've had throw-ins in this position 4 or 5 times. Canning has gone long. This time it's Trainer who's attempting to try something a little bit different. Trainer does really well to squeeze between 2 players. Wicked ball in.
Yeah, the two.
And away by DeMaio.
The two defenders basically left it to each other, and Trainer seized the opportunity. The gap was there, and he just burst through it and hammered a superb cross. That's the benefit with Aaron Trainer. You know, that's crying out for somebody to attack it and just bury it in the back of the net. Coleraine turning the screw again. Thomas.
First goal could be crucial here. Doherty again goes towards the back post. Jarvis got just enough on it, but it's Enrico who brings it forward. Flicked on again by Amati, and this is really good play from La Fiorita. It's Peluso who has options outside him. Damiano. Peluso would continue his run. Damiano on the deck. It makes its way to Peluso. Coleraine have to be careful, and the final pass wasn't the right one.
These La Fiorito fans in front of us here they're very excitable, but they are that type of a nation, aren't they? And they're that type of a
I think they're actually the substitutes rather than fans.
They're the subs on some of the staff, and they talk with their hands and arms.
But that's been their best showing in the last attack, turning defence into attack and showing the capabilities that they do have.
The counter-attack with pace, it's hard to beat, and they certainly had Coleraine on the back foot there, and that's something they'll have to be very careful of.
Just a warning sign for Coleraine. Pushing for a goal at one end, have to be wary of La Fiorita at the other as they win another free kick.
Yeah, I think the referee was going to play advantage there for a handball against one of the Coleraine players. It might have been Stephen Lowry, but that didn't work, so he's blown up for the free kick. In fairness, he's kept it going rightly, Thomas. I think the first couple of yellow cards he dished out has maybe cut a lot of that wee feisty stuff out, and it's maybe worked all right.
Yeah, it's calmed down a little bit after.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, and
after a very disjointed first 10 minutes or so.
Things sort of gone out of the game now, and you know, I admire referees who keep the game flowing and don't blow up.
Clipped into the middle, nobody there from a La Fiorita perspective, but there was a lack of communication between Trainer and Canning. That's resulted in a throw-in for the visitors. Gasparoni's come across to take it. Amadi, the closest player to him. O'Donnell didn't want to take any chances.
No, that's the right thing to do. You know, people might be pointing a finger saying, oh, for goodness sake. No, see, when you're a defender, back to goal, 3 yards out from your own line, get it out of there. Don't try to be clever. Clear your lines.
Gasparoni again lifts it in. I think it was Rinalta who made his way off from the back. It's a lovely touch from Gasparoni again.
Yeah.
Lafiori to up the tempo. Peluso. Still Peluso. Goes down after squeezing through a couple of Korean players.
Referees having none of it, Thomas. Fair play to him. You know, they're not Royal Dalton, these people. They won't break if they go down, and he went down too cheaply there. Nice wee run, and the ball got tangled up among his feet, and there was maybe an extra Korean defender there that wasn't needed. A couple would have been enough, but he went down, and the ref wasn't buying cheap diving. It's not long till they bounce back to their feet again once the ref waves play on.
I don't think Peluso
is
a big fan of the Korean defenders and vice versa.
No.
They've had quite a few conversations.
Yeah, there's no love lost
already this evening.
But they just need to get the hold of the ball in there at the moment in the centre of midfield, Thomas. There's nobody in there getting it.
In many ways, it's being bypassed, though, isn't
Absolutely.
it? I mean, Jarvis and Laurie are two ball-playing centre midfielders who like to get their foot on it, and haven't had an opportunity to do so because the first pass has always been the likes of McLaughlin and Allen.
Yeah, and they're having to scavenge for supply, and they're starting to drop deep. Curtis is dropping deep, James McLaughlin's dropping deep, just to try and get the ball. And they need to get somebody on there. At the minute, they couldn't hold a horse in the middle of the pitch, never mind the ball. They just need to get the hold of it, get their foot on it, and start play the 6-yard pass if need be. Don't be looking for the David Beckham ball all the time with swerve on it. Just keep possession. Just get a wee bit of continuity in play. It's an edgy performance, Thomas. It's not a convincing performance. It's an edgy performance.
And in some ways, you can understand that, given that the majority of these players haven't played in Europe before.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, like Curtis Allen would have had experience, and Stephen Lowry in previous years, but the majority of them haven't experienced a win before in Europe.
No, exactly.
And that's a big milestone for any player.
One other thing I would be looking at as well, this La Fiorita team haven't played since February. They haven't been in competitive football since February. This is their first competitive games in that length of time, so you would think the longer the game goes, the more heavy leg they may become. And again, if Korean could maybe just keep it measured, keep it sustained, keep asking questions of them defensively, and the longer the game goes and the tireder the legs get from the San Marino team, well then the more opportunities should appear.
Laurie,
good shout by the goalie. We heard him up here
towards the penalty spot, and Vivan screamed for the ball, and the defenders obliged.
Easily, is that a completely white outfit, Thomas?
You wouldn't get away with that on a Tuesday night
in
the driving rain.
No, you would not.
In Stangmore Park, would you? The kit man wouldn't tolerate it.
I thought it was the ice cream man when I arrived and saw him coming out. I was going to get you and me a couple of sliders.
Bright, beautifully bright kit.
You see that in football?
No, it's not. It's probably reflective as well of the climate in San Marino.
Probably.
Laurie under pressure.
They're squeezing Stephen Lowry. They're depriving him of a yard of space, and he loves that, just to get a first touch and open it up. And he's great at he's the man that makes things tick in the centre midfield for Coleraine. But they're obviously aware of that, and they're very, very, very tight to him. When he gets possession, he's closed down immediately.
It's really good defending from Canning. It was a little bit risky at the back because it looked like he was going to be caught out momentarily. Recovered, and Coleraine still have it. Jarvis tries to spread the play, but it's a loose pass from him. Peluso struck it well, but straight at Canning. La Fiorita on the attack. Cross is overhit, and comes to nothing, but another glimpse of what the San Marino side can do in attack.
Yeah, just a loose pass from Aaron Jarvis in centre midfield, a square pass. Unforgivable at this level, that type of ball in a game like this, and obviously it's intercepted and they break quickly. They do break at pace. Poor delivery then. It went harmlessly wide for a goal kick to Coleraine, but again, just that wee warning shot to say, you know, don't be too clever here because we might nick a goal. And if that San Marino team would nick a goal, who knows? Coleraine have had the Lions' share of possession. They just start to need to start, you know, putting that into maybe the likes of a goal.
Doherty, still Doherty, back to Lowry. On his left side, it took a touch and it's going to result in a corner kick. It was decent play down the right hand side initially. Doherty involved again. Tried to manufacture an angle for the shot. It was then hammered goalwards by Stephen Lowry, but always drifting wide, and Coleraine will have to make do with a corner kick. Doherty tries to drop it in on top of O'Donnell. Goalkeepers come for it and did well. Collected under pressure.
He's been good, Thomas. You know, we can hear him up here, and every team needs a loud goalie who's telling you what to do. And he didn't come for the initial cross. He knew it was too busy in around that area. He waited for the second opportunity and he came and he took it with a clean pair of hands. That's so reassuring for defenders when you have a goalie like that. But good play by Ben Doherty there, you know, cutting in from the left. His opportunity was blocked, but he saw the opportunity to lay it off to Stephen Lowry, and Stephen did right and steering a lovely left-footed shot, just curled it wide of the post. But a wee bit more of that there and Coleraine might get some dividend.
Lifted in towards Damiano, brave defending from Canning. A little bit scrappy as Amati whips it towards the back post, and I think it was Gasparoni lunging for it. In fact, it was a skipper, Rinaldi. It's a brilliant whip ball in from Amati initially. After a little bit of ponderous defending, Damiano couldn't get there, and Rinaldi was just inches away. It's a let-off for Coleraine.
A let-off, and the odd wee warning shot being fired by La Fiorita there, because they've got a couple of decent, technically gifted players in wide areas that can get the ball down and use it intelligently. And but for the fact that their crosses, the quality of their crosses hasn't been as good as probably their manager would want. But those are wee warning signs that Coleraine need to be very aware of and take heed of.
O'Donnell to Carson and away by Keane in the last couple of minutes of this first half. De Maio found Rinaldi, who was then brought down. The referee surrounded by La Fiorita players. Who weren't happy with the challenge.
No. They can be quite theatrical as well, you know. That was maybe, yeah, it was obviously a bit late, but they can be quite theatrical. The sad fact is, Thomas, I think a lot of the Europeans are like that, and I think that's where a lot of the British football and Irish football then, I think they took a lot of that from that. That was brought by the Europeans, that diving and going down cheaply.
Oh,
it's a thing that has festered in our game for far too long. But
certainly prominent throughout the game now.
Yeah.
The active simulation.
That's the terminology, young Tomas.
You probably call this something a little bit different in your day, Liam, but
slightly.
Simulation would be the technical term for it now.
Get up, yeah, Halyan.
It's a nice touch from Amati, who's grown as the game has continued. Allen, support from trainer. Inside of play for a throw in. Allen, I think, expected a little bit more support from trainer. And the first half has come to a close. I think in our clock it's a little bit premature, but referee decided not to play any additional time. So it's scoreless at the break here, and Liam will be happier.
I think the La Fiorita manager will be the happier of the two, because I did see Orn nodding to the substitutes to get warmed up, and don't be surprised if you do see a change, or maybe two changes here at half time, because Coleraine have been by and large ineffective, Thomas. Loads of possession, not turning it into what every game needs, a goal, and that's what the game's crying out for. And the longer the game goes on, if this team doesn't tire, you know, there's always the possibility they could nick a goal. They've had a few near shaves there, but I think Coleraine need to make sure they start to try and get possession in centre midfield. That's the hub of the action, and that's where games are dictated from. And if they can get the full-backs, I think Lyndon Kane and Aaron Trainer have both started to drop a bit deeper in towards the end of the first half, and that's where they were getting great dividends in the first half, when they were going up in the overlap, because that was creating extra men. They were getting great service in from wide areas. That's sort of dried up. Probably a combination of the La Fiorita players catching on to it and nullifying that threat, but I think they need to get them pushing forward again in the second half. I think if anything, the one that will be in Colerane's favour in the second half. It's a swirling breeze, but I think it may be in their favour in the second half, and you may see a few of them being told to have a pop from distance, and there hasn't been enough of that either.
Half-time scoreline here at the Coleraine Showgrounds is Coleraine 0, La Fiorita 0. Players back on the pitch for the second half here at the Korean Showground. Still scoreless at the break in this Europa League preliminary round game between Korean and La Fiorita. Let's look at some of the best action of the first half. Curtis Allen probably with the best effort of the early stages from a Korean perspective, unable to bend it round the post. But after this, Korean started to take control of the game for 10 minutes or so. Ben Doherty with this stinging drive from distance. Struck it well, the midfielder. And soon after, it was Josh Carson who had to go. Forced a decent stop from VIVO. Carson lurking around that back post area. Driven in low, goalkeeper batted it away at the second attempt. Trainer with the ball in. Korean well on top, but right at the end of the first half, it was an effort from Amati that almost picked out Rinaldi at the back post. The captain almost managing to squeeze it past Dean, but just couldn't get there. Just having a quick glance to see if there are any changes at the break from a Korean perspective. It looks like there's going to be. Nixon getting ready to come on. Josh Carson withdrawn. Stuart Nixon, very much an out-and-out winger. An arrival in January from Carrick Rangers. Impressed in the latter half of the season. Unavailable for the Cup semi-final against Ballymena, but now hoping to make an impact in Europe as Oren Kearney brings him on right at the start of the second half, Liam.
Yes, he's a talented young player, technically very gifted, and I think that's what they need. They need more creativity, and I think he can probably offer that on the night. It's been a difficult start for Joyce tonight because although he battled well and foraged, there wasn't an awful lot coming from this side, and I said it at the end of the first half, Coleraine desperately need better service, particularly from wide areas, and Stuarty Nixon's very capable of doing that. He's a wee live wire, tricky, traditional type winger who would skin you in a sixpence, as we used to say, or a tanner, and that's exactly what they need. They need a wee bit more of that wizardry in wide areas to try and unsettle a La Fiorita defence that has done very well, Thomas, in the first half.
Carson was also in the referee's notebook after that early infringement. I wonder if that impacted on the manager's thoughts. Plenty of firepower on the bench from a Korean perspective as it's flicked in towards Curtis Allen.
I'll tell you something, he can throw a ball as well. That was him who took the throw in, Stuart Nixon, and he threw it right inside the 6-yard box, but for Curtis Allen, I think it came at him by surprise and he just lost control and it ran over the byline. But there's a weapon you can use tonight as well as the long throw. You quite rightly pointed out earlier on, Thomas, the fact about, if you're not going to score from open play, your next best bet's set pieces, and that includes throw-ins.
And it's very difficult to judge the breeze. I know we've spoken about it a lot, but it was swirling in the first half and players were struggling to contend with it, with long-range passing, as you pointed out. Liam, probably in this half seems to be slightly benefiting Korean, but it's hard to know.
I'm just going by the corner flags, and I was watching them at half time and they were hanging limp, and now they do seem to be blowing in favour of Coleraine, and that might be just a wee invitation for people who are good strikers of the ball to get within 30-35 yards, have a pop, because at least if it doesn't go in first time, the goalie may spell it, he may parry it out and tell the rest of the forwards to be alert and follow it in. What will Oren have said in the dressing room? I think he'd say to try and get possession, try and get the hold of the ball in the middle of the park. They haven't done that, and the strikers have been starved of good service. But just to keep patient, be patient. Don't try to, as we would say, like a bull at a gate. Just be patient.
Tussling with Stuart Nixon, and well, both players had a hold of each other's shirt, but the decision has gone the way of Coleraine and Nixon. And even in these early stages, he's having a positive impact, having been introduced from the bench. Arico seemed to be favourite for it, but nudged over Nixon, and now it's Coleraine hoping to build from the back.
I think Orm will also have said, Thomas, to make sure that the back four stay switched on for Coleraine, because we saw from La Fiorita in the first half that they are very dangerous on the counter-attack.
Allen couldn't get round his man. Goalkeeper was under pressure and did just enough to get it away, Vivan. It was a defensive mix-up initially. La Fiorita had opportunities to clear. Di Maio was very impressive in the first half alongside Brihi, but Allen caused a little bit of confusion there. Can Coleraine strike first right at the start of this second half? Here comes a cross, skids off the head of the defender and away by Rinaldi.
That was a great delivery, Thomas.
Just outside the box from Nixon.
Great delivery. Those are the type of deliveries, and Ben Docherty's excellent at that. Those are the ones, set them out there around the penalty spot and then start curling them in, and see just how clever goalkeepers and defenders are then, particularly when they're hitting at pace and not big looping balls high in the air. Just see how clever the defenders are then, and it was a great delivery. That they'll need more of that.
Damiano, who's led the line, can't link up with Peluso a little bit further forward. La Fiorita haven't really changed their shape at any stage. All very compact around the midfield area, with Damiano and Pelusi trying to hit Coleraine at the back. Trainer flicked on as far as Allen. 3 or 4 Coleraine players lining up. That's a super ball in by Doherty. Cleared, but he might have another opportunity. Whipped it in again. Far too close to the goalkeeper, but it's better from Coleraine, Liam.
Coleraine have started with more purpose, Thomas, and again, as I highlighted at the end of the first half, we're seeing more from wide areas now, which I thought had tailed off somewhat in the first half. Started well and then tailed off towards half time, and I think the message has been loud and clear: get it into wide areas and let's stretch this back four. If it's too channeled down the middle, it's too easy for defenders, because the ball's coming at them head on, face on, and then if you can take it down the flanks and cut it back, it's just not so easy to deal with it. And that's exactly what Coleraine have been doing. More purpose, more life. They're up a gear.
Quicker as well.
Absolutely. Tempo's better. I think the tempo never really got above third gear, and I'm talking about an old 5-gear car here, Thomas. Never got above third gear there, but they've certainly started, I would say, in fourth gear at the start of the second half, and that's exactly what was needed. Too pedestrian, too predictable in the first half.
Jarvis, Lowry, looking for Doherty in the far side. It evades Trainer, but Lowry got there first, and the foot race is on between O'Donnell on the far side and Amati.
Well read by Stephen O'Donnell there. That's the old sweeper role coming into play, where you've somebody central defensive but they're watching the two fullbacks in case anything like that happens, in case it's suspect, and they're over. He was very quickly over there to tidy up the danger. Good play.
Canning fulfills the same role on the opposite side. Vocal support from the La Fiorita substitutes and backroom team. Again,
Thomas, I would have to pay testimony to the Coleraine club, because from arrival tonight at the front gate, their care for everybody's health and well-being was excellent. Social distancing, everything being checked. There was no going indoors and out of doors you shouldn't be. We were escorted to our commentary point. Everything has been zoned off, and they've done it superbly well. And I think we've got to do that to get sport back on its feet again, and to get spectators back through. If we have to have any chance of getting fans in to see games, do it properly. And I would have to say, in Coleraine's defence, they did that tonight.
Throw in from Nixon again towards that near post.
That was close.
And La Fiorita haven't looked particularly comfortable when those two Nixon throw-ins have been launched into the 6-yard box. Laurie tried to pick out a teammate. Now it's Lyndon Kane flying in.
He's been excellent tonight as well, Lyndon Kane. Firm in the tackle, decisive in the tackle, has read the game well, and he's been very willing to get up and down the flank, and that's what they need.
I know
he's been a great wee servant for all the age of him. He's a local lad as well, and he's been a great servant to Coleraine.
Certainly has. And given the fact that he spent a lot of time out through injuries, edging towards his 150th appearance, the guts of 2 seasons out and just 23. Coleraine have a little bit of defending to do now. Dropped by Dean and away by Canning.
Oh, that was a big let off there, because it was great play by the...
It was Peluso. Peluso tried to lift the ball in, and Damiano was lurking. Dean spilled it, and if the striker had been
first mistake of the
a
night,
little bit more alert, Coleraine could have been behind.
Yeah, and he held his head in his hands. Obviously, he get up, but he felt that he'd be apologising to his defenders for losing that cross. But they're dangerous on the counter-attack, Thomas. You can see that. They break with pace.
Towards the near post, this time it is safely taken by Dean. And certainly when the likes of Amati and Enrico get on the ball, Peluso and Damiano also, they do look threatening. Doherty loses out to Amati. He then ran straight into Laurie. Super play from Stephen Laurie. And Curtis Allen kept the defender honest.
Yes, good tidy play. And again, top marks to the referee for playing on. I think it was a Coleraine player went down that time. No sympathy from the ref. Quickly back on his feet again.
Lifted in by Jarvis. Flag was up.
Again, there's Curtis Allen at his very best, Thomas. Sneaking in on the blind side. You know, good strikers are instinctive. He knew where that ball was dropping, and he made his run perfectly. Timed it beautifully, but just nicked offside. Caught the big central defender ball watching.
Amati and Peluso get it away. McLaughlin couldn't find a way past Granoni. I think Oran Kearney may well be considering a switch. He's been speaking to his backroom team quite a bit in the last couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Opening 10 minutes in this second half. Coleraine have certainly been on top.
It's normal, you know, to give it 10 or 15 minutes into the second half. See if it changes, see if some players can get their game together, and if it looks as if it's pretty much the same as the first half, then that's the time probably to make a change.
Canning looking for Curtis Allen. Sweeping pass from De Mayo, who I have to say has looked very, very comfortable. There's another example. The two centre halves of La Fiorita been very good so far. Canning tries to play it round the corner with McLaughlin coming across. McLaughlin's made a little bit of a nuisance for himself as Allen finds Doherty. Chance for Coleraine. Ben Doherty got past the first man, couldn't beat the second, and here's Traynor. Poor cross from him.
He should have pulled the trigger, Thomas. You know, he's got a sweet left foot and it falls on you 15 yards out from goal. My goodness, pull the trigger, man. Make the goalie make a save. Too complicated, too intricate, trying just to score the perfect goal.
Canning. McLaughlin and Allen's getting on the ball a lot more since half time. Back towards Kane, lifted towards the back post, well taken by the goalkeeper.
He showed great clean hands, that goalkeeper. Very, very impressive in the air at all crosses. He came and took some difficult crosses as well, swirling away from him in among a ruck of players, but he's managed to do that. But you're quite right, very impressed by the two La Fiorito centre backs. particularly De Meo, he doesn't panic and he doesn't just hack stuff clear. He tries to take it down his chest, he tries to take a touch. I
think it's fair to say he might have a little bit of a different proposition coming on now, as
yeah,
I think Owen Bradley's about to be introduced.
That can't come of any great surprise, Thomas, because the game's crying out for somebody to score a goal, particularly for Coleraine. And you know, when you look at the bench and you see Owen Bradley sitting, you just think, well, there's the man there, let's get him on. And I'll tell you something, he'll ask questions of this La Fiorito defence. But again, he'll need decent service. Hasn't been great to date.
So impressive in the cup semi-final against Ballymena. Very unfortunate to end up on the losing side following that late Kenny Kane goal that forced extra time, and then eventually led to Ballymena's progression on penalty kicks.
Yeah, Ballymena struggled in that. Ballymena struggled in the semi-final against Coleraine, and they were excellent in the final.
Very unfortunate against Glentoran, David Jeffrey's side. Brehe looking for Damiano, and Lowry was there first, like Coleraine have been a number of times since the interval. Nixon.
Yeah, good play by Stephen Lowry. You know, held it up there and waited for the proper opportunity. Didn't try to hit the stupid pass. He found his own man, and they've worked it well and won a corner. Now you need Ben Doherty to just deliver one of those really good crosses that he's good at, and somebody with the bravery to get on the end of it.
Can Coleraine turn possession into goals? Doherty, flag stays down, driven in, and that's decent defending from the visitors. Danger still not away though. Here is Lowry trying to shift his way through two defenders. Coleraine have it back through Canning. It's all a little bit scrappy, and that's why O'Donnell decides to recycle the Dean. Nixon didn't give up, but couldn't find a way past the fullback Grandoni. Great perseverance so from Coleraine. Nixon goes down.
Yeah, they're squeezing them tight, Thomas, and that's what they need to do. Don't let them settle on the ball, don't let them get the ball and turn. Make sure you squeeze them tight, press them high up the pitch, right up in, that's halfway inside the La Fiorita half, and that's exactly what Coleraine need, because that's keeping the pressure on.
We've just passed the hour mark. Again, it's a long throw in from Nixon.
Yeah, it was a nudge there. I saw it from here, Thomas. No need to do that either, because those are great throws. He's finding great distance, young Stuart Nixon.
Interesting to see who's going to make way. I think it may well be Curtis Allen. Just waiting confirmation.
The board's gone up now, Thomas.
It is Curtis Allen. Withdrawn, or about to be withdrawn for Owen Bradley. Nixon. Enrico. Keane. Looks for Allen, handball, and that may well be his final involvement.
Yeah, and it's no shame to Curtis either, because he's been out of football for a considerable time, and then obviously with the premature end to the season, so that'll just be fresh legs as well. But you're bringing on quality now and Owen Bradley, but Curtis Allen can't be too disappointed with that performance, because you know what I liked about him, Thomas, despite the fact that he didn't stop running all night. He worked very, very hard for anything that he got, and if possession wasn't coming his way, he went looking for it.
Damiano trying to find Palusi, and that's nicely shifted across to Lowry. Good strength from him. Finds Kane. Jarvis. Back to Kane. Bradley wants it on the far side. It's a sweeping ball from Lowry, the trainer. Give you an idea just how strong the breeze is here. Damiano, well read by Lyndon Kane.
He's been excellent. Young Kane, for all the height of him there, he didn't do anything silly. He just let the big lad try and chest it down, and then he nipped in and robbed him of possession, and he used it intelligently.
Big height difference between the pair.
There is a fair bit.
But Lyndon Kane read it really well.
He did indeed, yeah. You see so many smaller players that they get so frustrated they foul a bigger player to try and get. He was very, very wise there. He stood back, let the big lad bring it down, and then he nipped in and took possession. Top class. Coleraine definitely on the top, but they definitely need a goal, Thomas.
Just to ease the nerves, if not anything else. McLaughlin went down, and it's a free kick in a great position, and
the dead ball specialist has just been brought on from
Mr.
the
Bradley territory.
Absolutely. There's definitely a slight breeze now in the Coleraine's favour, so that will be to his benefit as well. Just a nice distance out as well to get it up over the wall and back down again underneath the bar. And we've seen him do it several times.
Good news for the Irish League. Glentoran have just defeated Torshavn of the Faroe Islands 1-0. So they're through.
Well done, Glentoran.
Coleraine hoping to make something from this position. Referee having a word with the wall. McLaughlin and Bradley standing over it. Owen Bradley scored from around this range against Ballymena in the Irish Cup, and it is Bradley again. This time decided to go low, and the wall did its job.
Yeah, he didn't get the height, just didn't get the connection. That was just his distance as well, and his territory. Fairly central, slightly left of centre. Now a substitution for the La Fiorita team.
It's going to be Arico coming off. Guidi, sorry, coming on.
It's okay, I'll help you with those pronunciations.
Thank you, I know you've got my back as always, Liam. Arico taking his time.
I've been impressed by them, Thomas. You know, doing your homework as you do before these games, and you're reading up on, and you're reading the fact that the closest they've ever come to a draw has been a 0-0 with Linfield. And Marshall Gillespie, our good friend, sent me quite a few stats on them, and they didn't make for impressive reading. And that's the only one and only time they ever avoided defeat in Europe, was the 0-0 to Linfield. So the record isn't very impressive. And when you look at the population that we talked about earlier on, all the size of the place, I've been impressed. They've been technically good. I'll tell you something, they have been well set up. The manager deserves credit because he has had them well set up.
Lowry with the challenge following Guidi's introduction. Grandoni with the throw-in, and as you say, Liam, they have looked very solid at the back in particular. Up top, Peluso and Damiano.
They've looked really solid, and they've looked comfortable. There was a couple of times in the first half I thought they were just that wee bit excitable whenever the ball was in and around there and there was a ruck of players. They didn't look that composed, but they've grown in stature and they've grown in confidence, and they've dealt reasonably comfortably with anything that has been thrown at them by Coleraine.
Nixon's long throw-in was aimed at Bradley, back in again by Kane, and Coleraine have to be wary here. Lyndon Kane took the safe option by going back to Dean. La Fiorita had players charging forward. It's a lovely pass into the path of Nixon. Opportunity for him to run at the defender. Pull back to McLaughlin. That's a super stop. James McLaughlin hit it cleanly, but Vivan equal to the effort. Best save of the game.
There's an example of what can happen when you give strikers good service, and Stuarty Nixon, fantastic. worked the full back, worked him. When it wasn't on, he checked to the byline, he just squared it to James McLaughlin, who had very intelligently dropped off and struck a great shot. Great save by the goalie.
Good pressure from Coleraine, and it was O'Donnell who was inches away from giving them the lead. 2 chances within the space of a minute. It was a super corner kick in. I think it was O'Donnell who's got his head on it. Just a glancing effort, just so wide.
Coleraine are now asking questions, and most of it's coming from wide areas, Thomas, as we said early on. And Stuarty Nixon has been excellent since they brought him on as a sub. And you saw from James McLaughlin there, when you get these lads good service, they'll try and find the net. Believe you me, he's a great striker of a ball, and what a save by the goalie. He's been very impressive as well, Thomas.
You mentioned that a number of occasions, not just in terms of that instinctive stop, but the way he has communicated with his backline, particularly from the high balls coming in.
And I think that's Owen Bradley telling Gareth Dean just to remember the ones getting up with it and don't put too much on those because they're going too high. He wants stuff dropped down at his feet, ping to feet, where he'll control it and use his upper body strength to wait for support to arrive, and he's very, very good at that. But when it's overhit, and Gareth acknowledged that as well.
Midway through this second half, Nixon again goes long. Goalkeeper elected to punch it and has also won the free kick. It's Owen Bradley who's been spoken to.
Those throw-ins, Thomas, are they equal to a free kick? He's getting so much length on them. And something now, in throw-ins you can lift your feet. Actually, you can lift a foot and throw it. There's no such thing as a foul throw anymore. Those things
very rarely do you see them given yet.
When's the last time you ever saw a referee pull somebody up for it? You can nearly jump off the ground with both feet and deliver a throw-in now, but young Stuarty Nixon has a great throw. But whilst it's 0-0, Thomas, anything can happen.
Referee and a couple of the midfielders. Lowry, you can see what he was trying to do, and it just hung in the air. That was an attempted cross towards McLaughlin, but with the difficult breeze here, it momentarily looked as if it was going to cause all kinds of troubles for Vivan.
It's going to take a special effort to beat Vivan. I think he's certainly on his game tonight. The La Fiorita goalkeeper, excellent, both in the air and on the ground.
Lovely little flick from Nixon into the path of Keane. McLaughlin was through the middle. Bradley had peeled away to this near side. Slip from Canning. Coleraine have to be careful. Damiano looking for the player in the overlap. Peluso.
Oh, that was a great move, but Damiano just a bit too much purchase on the through ball, and
coming together between Peluso and Traynor, not for the first time.
Yeah, just asked too much of Peluso there, and he was very brave and read the situation really well, and was brave in his run and did his best to try and get on the end of it, but it's just too much on it. The final pass let them down. But again, just a wee warning sign for Coleraine. They're playing the offside game superbly, Thomas. The La Fiorita defenders, they're keeping a really good straight line. That would remind me of a back four that's playing together fairly regularly.
Certainly Coleraine felt it was a harsh decision, judging by the player reaction, as La Fiorita prepared to make another change. Lowry. Back with the substitute, Gidi. O'Donnell stepped up and won the ball. Finds Nixon. A real bright spark since coming on at half time. He's going to have a go from distance as McLaughlin tried to follow in on the goalkeeper. There were afters with the defender getting involved. McLaughlin's now gone down and the referee's right in the middle of it.
No, for me you can't blame James McLaughlin there, because the ball's there to be won. It's one of them ones, and the goalie's very brave in coming to get it, but you've got to expect to maybe get a boot somewhere if you do that. And
here's an example of it. Nixon with the shot.
Yeah, and James is actually sliding for the ball, so I see nothing wrong with that at all.
Referee looks like he's going to give McLaughlin a yellow card, and so too.
And Vivan's back on his feet fairly quickly. Fair play to him as well. He didn't make a meal of it. They're a bit theatrical anyway.
Grandoni and McLaughlin going to the referee's notebook as Peary prepares to come on in place of Damiano. Peary wearing number 92. Some size of a squad.
Indeed. Their fitness levels have been good, Thomas. You know, because since not having played from February, I was expecting them to flag, and they've been doing a lot of running, particularly up front, because they've had those two foraging up front all night. They've been chasing wide areas and down the middle, and they don't look like flagging to me. But then I think at 0-0 they know there's still a chance.
It would be a huge result for them.
Massive. I've been impressed by Amati.
Massive financial boost as well. Should they go through?
I've been impressed, Thomas, by Amati, the white-haired lad in the middle of the pitch for La Fiorita. He's been very, very good. He's covered a lot of ground as well, and he's been technically good on the ball. When the long ball has been on, he's used it. When the short pass has been on, he's used that as well. So he's a good all-round array of skills. Very, very impressive.
It's been tight throughout the evening. Korean with the better chances, particularly the one a little bit earlier from McLaughlin, followed up by that chance by O'Donnell, but it's still scoreless with about a quarter of an hour remaining. We do play the conclusion, of course, this evening. 3 Korean players around Peluso, who did appear to lash out, and it is a yellow card for him.
Yeah, he's run his socks off as well, but that was a wee sneaky one.
And Peluso has been petulant.
He has been.
A few times.
From the very start of the game, he has been petulant, but that was a wee niggly one from behind. You get that. Wee bit of fatigue maybe starting to set in.
Got involved a number of times in the first half with Aaron Traynor. Now he goes into the referee's notebook, so can't take any more chances.
I can see Aaron Traynor having a word with the referee's assistant over on that side. Keep an eye on your man. They're at it. I can see them at it.
Bradley keeps it in play to find Nixon. Ricochets off the defender for another throw-in.
And you're going to get one launched here again. This is as good as a corner kick, Thomas. So they're pushing the big man forward to try and get on the end of it for Coleraine.
Yet another long throw coming up from Stuart Nixon.
Yeah, I think he almost found the penalty spot there in length. Tremendous.
Canning, Lowry. Can Korean's big players make something happen? Flags up on this near side.
Yeah, I was just about to say a great ball by Stephen Lowry. Lovely control and then a great crossfield pass, but there again, that's the La Fiorita team. The back four have been excellent at playing that offside game.
It's been disjointed at times. Here is Bradley. Look at the run that Aaron Canning's made up from centre half.
He's forced the central defender into giving away a corner, Thomas.
Corner kick.
And the
Canning charged forward just as a breeze picks up. Our Sweets were victims of the breeze at half time as they
all we can do
fell over the top
cast an envious eye down there, Thomas, and they're in zone Z.
They're now down the stand beneath us. Will this be a sweet moment for Coleraine with 13 minutes remaining. Corner kick comes in, headed away as far as Lowry. Plenty still forward. Tries to angle the cross, and Doherty shifts it across to Nixon. A little bit of trickery from him, skipping inside and outside. And there's one.
Good play, good sustained pressure by Coleraine. Good sustained pressure. Don't let them out. Once you get them hemmed in there, just keep that pressure on. Something's got to give, you feel.
O'Donnell and Canning lurking. In swinger once more. Player went down as it's powered in by Aaron Jarvis, but the goal's been disallowed for the earlier infringement. Coleraine had the ball in the net, but the referee immediately signalled for the incident just before it. It was another super delivery, good movement. Owen Bradley alongside the defender, and it was actually Aaron Canning alongside Granoli, I think. There was plenty of contact in there. A couple of players were jostling for position. Jarvis headed it in. And Liam, is that harsh?
I've seen them given, Thomas. But again, I think if Coleraine can just be patient and keep doing what they're doing at the moment, they're turning the screw. Their ass. La Fiorita are getting deeper and deeper and deeper. The one's getting up, it's on Colerane's backs, and it's tough for that San Marino team now. But Coleraine have just got to be patient, and when they do get set pieces and free kicks, make sure the deliveries are good. Get it in there on top of the danger area, and something's going to give. And I thought that was it there now, but it'll be a wee wake-up call for La Fiorita as well. But it'll obviously give Coleraine that wee shot of adrenaline to let them see, listen, we're going to nick a goal here very soon.
Bradley backing into the defender, showing good strength. Bradley skipped past De Mayo, who wasn't happy with it.
We now have the rain as well as the wind, Thomas.
And the San Marino side are getting the full experience of the local weather conditions now. Just as Coleraine win a free kick, which Doherty is standing over.
Nice distance as well in them conditions. Ben Doherty, great at dead ball situations as well. He can execute. Moral of the story is as well, make sure and follow up here.
Upgraded to a
O'Donnell and Canning are up from the back, but Doherty may well fancy this one himself. Just three in the wall. Nixon also lurking on this near side as it's clipped in by Doherty. Canning can't get there.
I heard
that's another wasted opportunity.
I heard a man there just there using a word that I would probably use to describe that. That was poor, because it's always sad to see somebody so technically gifted as Ben Doherty to deliver a terrible cross as that was. When the goal was crying out for to have a pop.
I almost wonder though why it's easy to be critical of Doherty in a position like that because of his quality. Yeah. Given the breeze, was he caught in two minds whether to float it in or whip it in?
May have been, but again, you can't rule out the fact that it was a poor delivery. But again, the La Fiorita team here have been guilty of fouling as well, Thomas. So I think they're starting to tire, and the more tired you get, the challenges become laboured and they become later, and hence the fact you give away free kicks, and they're starting to just give away free kick after free kick after free kick, and sooner or later they're going to be punished.
Breahy going into the referee's notebook, the third La Fiorita player to do so. Jarvis and Nixon hovering over the ball. Again, it's a very congested 6-yard box as the referee just pushes the wall back a little bit. Jarvis, and that's another waste.
you know, you won these free kicks and these dangerous possessions, and all you're asking for is that's the very basics of footballers. Get the ball in the penalty box, you know, give your forwards a chance.
And understandably, two of the most frustrated figures are the two centre halves, Canning and O'Donnell, who've made their way up
the back. They make that run away up there, and you're expending unnecessary energy because the ball's way over your head, and then suddenly you've got to make that long trek away back. And you know, Korean haven't had a lot of football of late either. They had that semi-final, but it's asking a lot of players, and when they don't get the ball, they make those runs and they don't get the service.
Doherty cuts back onto his left foot, early delivery. Then Kane tried to skip past, but the surface is very greasy after that rain shower.
But Lyndon Kane's been full of running. You know, full-backs nowadays are flying wingers, really. You know, that's what they are. That's how I see them. And Lyndon Kane's the perfect example. He could play it wide right if need be. But he's a great wee tackler. And for me, I think tonight he's been the pick of the Korean team.
7 minutes of normal time remaining as Trainer looks for McLaughlin. Ball hasn't really stuck up top for the home side. Canning again. This time changed direction to go crossfield to Bradley. Plenty forward, but the ball still doesn't make its way in towards the danger area.
Yeah,
and it's become a little bit too pedestrian again for Korean.
Unpredictable, Thomas. When you take too many touches, it becomes predictable. And obviously they're starting to tire as well, because they've been putting the pressure on for the vast majority of the second half. Like Lafayette are just depending on breaks and counter-attacks, and they haven't come to a big lot either.
Korean have dominated possession, have dominated opportunities, but haven't made it count so far. They've undoubtedly been on top for the majority of this game, but apart from that McLaughlin effort and a couple of other opportunities, haven't really.
No, the goal has just had to come and take crosses and that type. It hasn't had really much to deal with directly.
Bradley's cross in, Nixon, can he get there? Referee says there was a hand from Nixon. I don't think he expected the ball to make it as far as that. Good ball in though by Bradley. A little bit more venom in that cross.
Yeah, there's more intent in the Korean play, and I think they know they've got them on the ropes, and if they can just find that proper final pass. And
Nixon, Laurie alongside him. First time ball in. Again, the goalkeeper was confident. Came and collected.
Quality of that cross wasn't great either. It made it fairly easy for the goalie, Thomas, but it's that type of thing they need, the early delivery. I think they need more balls into feet as well. I think the two big centre backs for Lafayette have been fabulous. And
yellow for him following the challenge, and Doherty, who nipped in to steal the ball moments earlier.
So after a while, when you realise that you're not getting much success in the air, it's time to play it on the ground and maybe work the wee triangles, get down the wide areas. And when the Korean do that, they're getting joy. They're getting success down the wide areas, but sometimes then they tail off and they start to try and get through the middle again, and there's no way through because they've been so resolute, that back four. They've been excellent.
Korean just need to be careful they're not hit with a sucker punch as they go in search of what you'd suspect would be a winning goal. Canning up in the air from DeMao. Goalkeeper got just enough on it, and it's hammered clear, but it's all one-way traffic as Korean push for a winner. Trainer pumps it forward. Bradley underneath it. Goalkeeper again took control of the situation.
I've lost count of many times Vivan has come and took those crosses, and I can't remember him dropping one, Thomas. I don't want to put the curse on him, but he's been superb. But at times Korean make it easy for him because they knock too many balls close to him, which makes it easy to come and take.
Peary offside, and it's going to be left for Dean. Sweeping ball, just didn't reach its destination. Trainer to Bradley. Two in the middle. Scuffed cross from Bradley. And it's back as far as Grandoni.
Pieri, he got the ball there to his feet, and instead of trying to keep possession for La Fiorita, he just knocks a hopeless ball out into touch and puts the team immediately under pressure again, and that's the last thing they need. They need some respite at the back there.
Bradley penalised once more. Again, the referee has a word with the striker. I think Bradley is complaining because certainly in a local game he wouldn't deem that to be a foul.
Yeah, the manager's just
called up every single time on it here.
Manager's just having a wee pop there at Pieri to tell him, you know, basically what we said. When it comes up, try and hold it. Give the rest of the players a chance to get up, because they're under the cosh.
Coleraine piling on the pressure. Trainer lifts it forward. Lovely touch from McLaughlin and a brilliant finish. The goal finally arrives. They've waited 88 minutes. James McLaughlin fires Coleraine in front. It's been coming, Liam.
Oh, it's been coming, make no mistake about it. And it's just the big ball over the top, and the one carried it over the heads of the central defenders. Great first touch by James McLaughlin, checked inside and then buried it in the corner. And that's what James McLaughlin does, Thomas. He scores goals. You know, when you could maybe think you have him out of the game for 88 minutes or something. There it is. What a touch. What a first touch. Bang, pick it out. And the big goalie has been beaten. And that's game, set and match, because there's no way La Fiorita are coming back from that.
La Fiorita have been resolute. They've been organised. But McLaughlin was clinical.
First touch was absolutely sublime. Coming out there over your head on a night like that, he just takes it on the right foot, pulls it inside in one movement, sweeping movement, then just buries it in the bottom corner. Fabulous goal.
For so long, it's been a frustrating evening for Coleraine. But that moment may well have sealed their place in the next round of the Europa League. It's been 17 years since the Bandsiders last won in Europe, and James McLaughlin may well have ensured that run has come to an end.
I'm delighted for James as well, Thomas, because he's had his injury problems, and sometimes he's not in the team when many people would expect him to be in the team, but he's proved a point tonight, because although he's been well marshalled by the La Fiorita defenders, just shows you, give him a decent glimpse of goal and the ball at his feet, and there's only one place he'll put it, and that's in the bottom corner. And he's as fit as I've ever seen him, and he's worked so hard to get into that condition, and that's why I'm absolutely delighted for him. Nobody deserves a goal tonight more than he does, because he has worked so hard. First and foremost to become a senior footballer, and then to keep his place, and then score important goals, and there you had it.
And I think we spoke about it right at the start. Tonight, particularly in these conditions, wasn't so much about performance, it was all about the result. And if Oran Kearney hears the full-time whistle and the result remains the same, he mightn't be ecstatic, but he'll certainly be very, very happy.
Absolutely, and it keeps the momentum going, keeps the buzz going when they come into train. You know, you have that next round to look forward to. Whilst the season's quite some way off now, the start of the new season, you've got Europe, and when that builds confidence.
Here's Nixon, who's had a big impact since coming on, trying to eat up a few seconds, and has won his side a corner kick. Good play from Stuart Nixon.
You're quite right, Thomas, he has been excellent. He's just injected that wee bit of life into the Coleraine team, both on the right side, on the left side. He's been technically very good, great throw-ins, great delivery of set pieces. Just that wee type of nippy winger that I love to see in local football.
And I think Owen Bradley's going to try and eat up a few more seconds here. Holding on to the ball.
Yeah, I don't like to see
Using his
that, but
body.
you know, if you're in that team or you're looking after that team, that's exactly what you want to do. Keep it in there.
Well, we've played the 2 allotted minutes of additional time. As Bradley goes down, there's the final whistle, and the reaction from Oran Kearney and his backroom team said it all. This victory means a lot to Coleraine.
You can see the sheer relief in Oran's face there, because you know, whilst the clock was running on and on and on and on, 2 minutes, what a time to score a winning goal, Thomas. 2 minutes from full time. You know, there's no real chance for the other team to get back, and that's fantastic. Plus it's more money for the club as well. All the clubs are struggling at the minute because of the pandemic. They're not getting a chance to earn. There's no revenue coming in, and that's fantastic. I love to see the local teams doing so well and earning a few pounds in Europe.
And it's Maribor up next.
Maribor up next.
Nothing to fear there. You're in the next round. New opponents.
Absolutely.
Let's see what happens. The adventure continues.
Absolutely, and it's another game's experience for some of those guys, as you quite rightly pointed out, that haven't played at this level.
Well, Nino once again getting involved, this time with Alex Granell. It's a tussle between the two captains who really should know better. Stuani at his 2 pennies worth. Granell just trying to get touch tight on a tightly strung Nino. It's on the left here, played it down the line. A Screech here will do well to keep this in. He's given a shove in the back. I'll try the little flick, and it's off Juanpe, out for a corner. First corner of the game for Elche. Approaching 20 minutes gone. They don't have the tallest players available to them. Girona maybe with a slight height advantage.
First corner kick, Duncan. Those games all about details. Could be a good chance for Elche, the likes of Verdú, Dani Calvo, Josema, and also Manuel Sanchez could be a good option, those set pieces, but we know Girona is a very strong team since Francisco 5 times no conceding goals.
This one is sent out by Gumba with his thigh. Flicked over the top, and the ball judged to have gone out of play beforehand. Looked fairly clear cut. It does just bounce out despite the best attempts of Panamia to keep that one in. Well, as we hit the 20-minute mark, it has been a fairly evenly matched contest.